Coming out of the nightmare abyss of the piney woods of East Texas, the Random Horror Show, the best in commentary and reviews in horror, sci-fi, fantasy, cult classics, and the obscure from film, television shows, and literature. Join our horror hostess, Keisha Lacey, as she is scary, but random, horrific, but funny. Last but not least, she will chill you to the bone.
Hey there, everybody. This is Keisha Lacey, your horror hostess with the Random Horror Show. And I have a spectacular, spooky guest for you guys. And our guest is David Marino with the Marino Show. And say hi to my wonderful, lovely ghouls and goblins out there, David.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm honored to be on it. I've been following you on social media for a while now, and I love everything that you do and everything that you stand for. And you've kind of helped me a little, whether you know it or not, because you are so raw and authentic. So it's kind of helped me be a little more, real and try to be myself when I do my own show. So thank you for that.
Oh my gosh, thank appreciate it.
Of course,
Appreciate
yeah.
it. You're making me blush, but like, no, that means a lot from the bottom of my heart. Appreciate it. I just always want people to be their authentic self, especially if you doing content or anything else like that on social media. It doesn't matter. Even in your personal life.
Yeah, yeah, and sometimes that's harder than you think it is, right? I think for people that create content, and this is relatively new for me. I've only been doing it for maybe 2 years, less than that on my
Hmm.
own. And so I kind of look up to other people who are creating content and not like copy what they're doing, but just sort of take a cue from them, like, oh, I like that. That's interesting. Maybe I can adjust that for my own thing and do my own thing, And so, yeah, I think it's really important, like what you're doing in the horror world, because those of us who like horror are the weirdos, and we're always kind of the different ones that sometimes are misunderstood. So I love that you're out there representing, and it's fun to watch you and see what you're doing and the people you interview and your knowledge of the horror genre. I just love it.
Thank you so much. You have like some really good like horror genre like gems yourself, David. I mean, you said you've been doing this less than 2 years and everything. And it's called the Marino Show. I'm gonna tell you this. I love your intro because I love the little top hat. You have the two ladies dancing. It's like this fanfare. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking cool. And how did you come up with the concept of like the Marino Show? And also, what is your like intro to horror? Like, tell us all about that.
Yeah. I'll start off with like how I got into doing the show. So
Mhm.
I have always worked in communications. I worked in news for 16 years as a reporter and ultimately a news manager. Then I transitioned out of that into city government, and now I work for an engineering firm in corporate communications. But while I was working in city government for a city right outside of Boston where I live, I would do
Mhm.
these video segments with people in the community, like residents. And one of them, her name is Candace Bellamy. And Candace is a podcaster. She's a doctor. She's a filmmaker. She's a singer. It's like one of those people that you just stand back and you're in awe of, because they do all these amazing things, and they're in different areas. It's like being a doctor is completely different from being a filmmaker, which is completely different from being a singer. So I was fascinated by her and learning about her presence in the community. So Candace was hosting a show on
Mhm.
Austin Music Television, which is where the Marino Show airs now. And her show is called Coffee Break with Candace. after I left the city and took another job, she asked me, hey, would you like to be a guest host and do like a
Mhm.
few episodes a month? That's how it started, because when I had interviewed her for the segment I was doing for the city, I told her, oh, I used to do news a long time ago, and I'd really like to do something outside of my work life that was interviewing people. And so she remembered that, and I credit her for getting me on this path, because she got really busy in her work life and her podcasting life and filmmaking. She said, hey, I'm going to have to step away from doing the show. I think you should make it your own show. So that's how the Marino Show was born. And it airs. A lot of people think it's a podcast, but it actually airs on television, on public access, on Austin Music Television, Channel 16 here in Austin. And you can watch it online. So that's how that happened. And so ever since then, I, have been doing this show, and it started as I wasn't interviewing really just anybody really horror content related. It was sort of nonprofits and,
Mhm.
people in the community. And then I started kind of shifting, because my love, as yours is, has always been centered around the horror genre and horror movies and the spooky and the scary. So I just started
Mhm.
reaching out to different actors and movies that I watched in the 80s, and some of them said yes, some of them don't respond. And then I
Yeah.
started interviewing people locally, and also indie filmmakers in the horror world, and all of that. So that's how the show started. It was sort of it was just I fell into it because I happened to meet somebody who saw something in me. And when I mentioned to you earlier, I mean, I did news, which was a whole different kind of, I mean, you're very serious, you're reporting on serious things, but I had
Mhm.
never done, when I say, I appreciate people like yourself who are authentic, I had never done a show that was really, it's not that it's about me, but I had to bring my personality out. When you're on the
Mhm.
news and you're reporting, you're not really showing your personality. You're sort of, you're regurgitating facts. You're talking about this horrible thing usually that's happened. But I had to bring myself to the table. So over the past, I'd say, year and a half, I've started to be more open, in my interviews with people, and talking about issues that are important to me, and just being myself, which is, I've talked to you about this when you were on my show, just
Mhm.
about being gay, and I bring that up, and I was scared to do that because I come from a conservative family. Not that my
Mhm.
family doesn't know, but it's different when you're saying it out loud to a bunch of people. And I think
Mhm.
for my family, there's concern of, well, you don't want everybody to know your business. You don't want everybody to know, for fear that they'll judge me. But my whole thing is, okay, I've already been judged my whole life. So at this point, I don't care. It's like, I have to be myself. So when I talk about looking up to people like you that are authentic and who you are, I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because it's not easy to be yourself and bring yourself to the table, especially in the world that we live in, with the social media world, where people hide behind their computers to say negative things about people. And that's not my style. That's not your style. I'm just here to
Mhm.
share stuff that I love, which is horror. So that's a long answer to your question. But the second part of it is how I started liking horror was I was very young. I was probably about 6, 7 in that age. And I think the first horror film I saw was the Friday the 13th, the original. And
Mhm.
that is what sparked my love for those movies. Like, it started with the Friday the 13th franchise, and then I started getting into other movies. My favorite is the original Halloween, John Carpenter's original Halloween, which, as you know, spawned all the slashers that we went into the 80s with, like the Prom Nights, the Friday the
Mhm.
13th, all of those. And so I would say that that was really the first film, the Friday the 13th franchise, that got me interested, and interested in my love for specifically the slasher genre. Like, I love campy, I mean, literally camp Friday the 13th, but I love over the top, campy messes of movies from the 80s. Slumber Party Massacre. Do you know that one? Slumber Party
Yes.
Massacre. That's
Yes.
another one of my absolute favorites, because it's just campy. It's kind of a nod and a wink to the camera, because Slumber Party Massacre was made by a woman. So
Mhm.
the TNA and like the gratuitous nudity was done kind of on purpose, and it's more of a feminism. It's more of a feminist film because the women
Mhm.
take control. They're the ones that kill the driller killer. They're the ones that the guys all die and the women are left standing. So that movie, people misunderstand it. It's actually a feminist, and it's an empowerment film. So even in the horror genre, people assume that it's all like, oh, it's even in the 80s just exploiting women and all that. Well, if you really pay attention, there are some other things going on in some of those films that if you don't pay attention, you don't catch it. But that was one of those that I love because it was kind of a testament to being empowered as a female and not being the victim, and I loved it. I love it. So that's sort of where my love from horror started.
That, yeah, for real. Especially what you said about that movie is that when I watched a lot of 80s horror, because I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and there was very few films that actually had female empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like how there was like this big hoopla of like saying, because horror was like actually put in a category of like pornography,
Yes.
and they saying like, hey, it's just a bunch of like women getting killed. This is like from the male gaze because of like all the tits and ass, and then showing violence. Well, yeah, I understand that point of view,
And
but
some
there
of
is
them
also,
were, and some of them were,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, some of them were. They were. But there was like something about like Slumber Party Massacre that, I watched it and I was like, "Oh, snap." And I feel that like a lot of people, they don't pay attention to the storyline of like horror films,
Mhm.
um because to me they just look at like just no nothing but surface, but really pay attention to like the storyline of what's really happening and be like, oh, okay, like Frankenhooker.
Mhm.
I watched Frankenhooker. I fucking love Frankenhooker, and I love Frankenstein because Frankenstein is like the OG, and it's one of my favorite stories, and of course it's written by Mary Shelley. And anybody that knows the history behind the whole how Frankenstein got started is because of a bet between her husband and their friend. We heard they had some throuples and stuff back in the day, but it was written, just saying, they was a little bit like, like on the swinger side like that,
See, and people think this is what's so funny. They think that some of these things that are in society today are just, oh my God, they're just so like over the top and just offensive. This has been going on forever.
I know,
Forever.
right? Forever. But there was the bet of like who can write the most scariest story ever. And guess who won? Mary Shelley. And that's how she came up with Frankenstein. But when I seen the cover of Frankenhooker, this is like years and years ago, I just looked at it and I was like, oh Lord, this looks really stupid. So it was Lady Shasha. She's like did like this thing over Frankenhooker. And I was like, you know what? Never judge a film cover. So when I watched Frankenhooker, I love the shit out of it. It's dark comedy, it's very campy, but it's also female empowerment. And it's lots of tits and ass in it too.
I
but
haven't seen it. I need to see it.
you
I saw
need
you
you
shared
need
about it the other day, and
you need
you
to
did an episode on it.
yeah, you need to watch it. You really do need to watch Frankenhooker because you'll not only laugh your ass off, but there is a message like in that film. It really is. And you'd be like, "Oh, snap. I didn't realize it was like that." But I was just so impressed by Frankenhooker, and it just became one of my like favorite, and it's a cult classic too. and it has like everything what you can imagine about science fiction horror, with a whole Frankenstein like loosely based adaptation, and you have like female empowerment in it. And I was just like, man, this movie is like so badass. I encourage everybody to like watch Frankenhooker.
Well, I
But
want to see it, especially after listening to your podcast on it. I think that I love discovering movies like that that I either didn't know existed or I saw it in passing but just never watched it. So that is on my list to watch. I need to see that now.
you do need to see it, but I was just like, I just misjudged this movie. I don't. It's just the cover of it, which like threw me off, and and I was like, after thinking, I was like, you know what? I don't need to like sit there and look at like a movie cover, a film cover, or whatever, and just say like, oh, they look stupid. No, I need to go check it out because if it's I just, maybe they didn't have the budget or maybe their like
Right.
art is like crappy or something. I don't know. They probably use Canva or something. But but yeah, it's really like a really great movie. You'll definitely love it,
And I
David.
love dark comedy. I love it. Like,
Oh, it's
I
right up
love
your
that
alley.
stuff. So
Oh,
yeah,
it's right up your alley.
yeah, I got to see it. So yeah, that's what I love about horror is that there are messages in these films if you really pay attention. It's just like any other film. You have your films that suck in horror, just like you have your films that suck in comedy and whatever. But I honestly, though, I feel like I'm the type when a movie's really bad, I actually like it because I love how bad it is. Like Showgirls, I know it's not horror related,
Oh my
but
god.
Showgirls is like my ultimate favorite exploitation big budget film from the 90s that it was beautifully shot, but it is just trash and I absolutely love it. Love it.
No
Love
me,
everything
no
about
me
it. Naomi
Malone. No.
Malone.
Oh,
Yes.
Pollyanna. What is it, Pollyanna? What?
Yeah. I just like how bad the acting is. She's like, I hate you. I know. Here, wipe your nose. Like it's just so ridiculous.
It is a ridiculous movie, but I that is one of like my favorites too. It is terrible. And I remember the backlash that Elizabeth Berkley
Oh my
got because
God, I
she was
know.
in this film and we didn't even see Jesse for a long time. And I'm
But
just like,
she's made like she's done well, like she's come back and done guest star roles in
yeah,
films, and I mean obviously she doesn't have the career that a mainstream A-list actress would have, but yeah, I the backlash against her was just crazy, and she can actually act. If you've seen her in other things, she can act.
she can act, but I feel that like, everybody's gonna make a bad couple of movies every once in a
Hmm.
while, but I felt like she did not deserve that backlash because yeah, it was terribly poorly made, but it was just exciting because you see Kyle MacLachlan, the one who plays Agent Cooper off of Twin
Twin
Peaks,
Peaks, yep.
and Blue Velvet, and he was
Yep.
like also in that movie The Hidden.
Hmm.
Who,
And
who
Gina
else?
Gershon,
Yes,
Gina Gershon.
Gina Gershon was in there. Oh yeah, what was like they had like that little connection, that little like lesbian connection where they've
Yes.
been talking about like dog food and talking about I
Yes,
ate
I
Alpo
love
or
puppy chow. That's what she
I
said.
love puppy chow and everything else. And I was just like, what does puppy chow have to do with it?
But I
I was
think when you look back at it now, like those are the types of films when you look back with years of, a lot of time has gone by, like
mm,
it's such satire, I
it is.
mean, and Elizabeth Berkley has embraced it now, which I love. And she said, that's how she was directed. She was directed to be over the top and to act like that. And that film overall is a giant, big camp. I don't know. I think what happened with that, I know this isn't horror related, but I just have to get it out because I think what happened with Showgirls was that it was marketed in a very sort of sexual way, like Basic Instinct. And Basic Instinct while it had its
Mhm.
campy moments, it was more of a serious, it was erotic. It was like an erotic thriller. And so the same filmmakers, I think Paul Verhoeven, whatever, that was
Mhm.
at that era where those films were kind of getting a lot of attention. And Showgirls was supposed to be, the way they marketed it was kind of like that. If you watch the trailer, it was sort of like a Basic Instinct, but for like the showgirls, like how they have to do whatever to make it. If they had marketed that film as a campy satire comedy, it would have been fine.
Yeah, it would have.
Yeah, I
It
think,
it it would have.
yeah.
Yeah, I just loved her dancing moves and
Hmm.
stuff, and she's a wildcat and everything. I was just like cracking up with just the way how she was dancing. But like my favorite silly ass scene out of there is the swimming pool scene. The
Oh my
swimming
God.
pool.
I
Oh,
die every time I see that scene because she looks like a dying fish. And I just can't. You can't even take the sex scene like seriously because it's so ridiculous.
I was straight pissy on that scene. I was like, what in the hell is going? I'm like, that's not how you do it. I was like, do you want me to go? I'm like, do you want me to come over there and show you how to do it like that?
And it was Kyle MacLachlan. I mean, hello, Kyle MacLachlan. Oh,
I know, right? Ugh, he was just so
he
cute.
was dreamy. Like and then Twin Peaks, I just love him,
Oh
especially
my
that
god.
era. Yeah.
Oh man, I was just like in love with some damn like Kyle MacLachlan and the other guy, Michael Onkeen, that like plays the sheriff.
Yes.
He had
Yep.
the like really cute curly hair, but I was like
Yeah.
more into like Agent Cooper. I don't
Yeah.
know. He's just like was really quirky about things. I was like, damn, I
Hmm.
like these nerdy, quirky ass dudes.
Twin Peaks was another, like, that is sort of, you could consider it. I don't know if you want to say horror, but it definitely falls in that dark sort of genre. Twin Peaks,
It
it's so
really
different.
does.
Yeah.
It it really does. And I remember watching Twin Peaks. I was in sixth grade. And back then, we didn't have cable or, DVR or nothing like that. And especially if you live in a rural area, you have like three channels and that damn antenna out there. You have to
Hmm.
but my grandparents would go, we do our little thing, we go to town and we go to Walmart, and that was like the highlight of a Saturday. Go to Walmart and then go to McDonald's, and then we come back. So Twin Peaks is like coming on at 9 o'clock. I'm like, yo, we need to hurry up. My grandparents looking at me crazy, like, what is she no, what is she rushing us for? I'm like, Twin Peaks is coming on. So like literally I dominated that whole TV set when Twin Peaks came. Like, y'all better not turn it off. Y'all better not put it on another channel and everything, because Twin Peaks is coming on. And I remember that so like clear, like it was yesterday.
And
And they're
go
like,
ahead.
oh God, here she goes with this damn Twin Peaks.
But that show, as you know, was, I think it still would be I can't talk, groundbreaking by today's standards because it's just so, it has not been done. It had not been done before. It was something very different. It was quirky, but it was so well made, so well
Hmm.
written, acted, all of it, the way it was shot. It was very different from what you saw on primetime television in the late 80s going into the early 90s. I think that show would have fit in better in today's sort of world of streaming. I think it would have caught on, but back then I don't think people were ready for it because it didn't last very long. They made films, of course, but it didn't last very long. It didn't have the ratings, but it has a cult following. But I think it was way ahead of its time, that show.
That's the reason why I liked it. I mean, damn, I was so good back in the day, a little 12-year old. But it was ahead of its time. and that's the reason why I liked it. I mean, from the actors, to the story. I mean, we still trying to figure out who the hell killed Laura
Kill Laura.
Palmer.
Yep.
It was like so many people that had like their fingers all into this one case, that it just developed into like so many sub stories and sub you know things that was going on. You had Leo that was selling drugs. It was a truck driver that was
Mhm.
married to old girl in a diner. Then old girl at the diner and everything, she was messing with Bobby, with the quarterback, which is actually Laura Palmer's boyfriend.
Yep.
It was just like some small town crazy mess and everything. And that's, I think that's the reason why I liked it, is because
Well,
you
you're in a small
actually,
town. You also grew up
right,
in a small town.
and you have like small town people always have these secrets and these like hidden desires and everything that you recognize, like, from, because they all wear this mask. They have, out there, hey, how you doing? But then behind closed doors they're doing like different weird shit that people just don't know. That was like the attraction to that. Of course, the surrealism with Twin Peaks. And then you have the actors, on Ray Wise, who played Swamp Thing. You
Mhm.
had Piper Laurie, who was
Carrie.
mom.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Such
So you
iconic actors in that show.
Yeah, it was some iconic actors. Even when I seen Piper Laurie, and I watched Carrie when I watched Carrie. I watched Carrie. I think it was like in high school or eighth
Mhm.
grade or something like that. And this was like after Twin Peaks, and it got canceled. And I seen Carrie, and I was like, oh snap, that's like Piper Laurie that was on Twin Peaks. So you I love when you see like the actors that you didn't know that was like in horror films or science fiction films or whatever
Mhm.
like that, and then you see him on a television show, and then you look you rent a movie or whatever like that, and you see him in it, you're like, oh snap, that's like pretty cool. And you just like researched him. And I know we didn't have Google back then, but you just become like so excited that
Mhm.
you research them, because you're very impressed with their acting.
She was
Oh
Piper
my god,
Laurie as Carrie White's mom. She was so scary, and
I didn't
it,
like
it
her. Oh
was
my
such
god.
an effective, like, her performance was like, you just, I know when I see Carrie, like, aside from Sissy Spacek, obviously,
Hmm.
which I think everybody in that film did an excellent job, but like, Piper Laurie, the way she portrayed the mother, and you just felt like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine growing up in that house and being so secluded, like, kind of like your mother and you, and she, almost like a codependent. It was a
Hmm.
codependent relationship,
Yeah.
but it was so creepy.
I I hated her. I hated like Piper Laurie played the hell out of Carrie White's mom, but I hated her because of her. She played her so well. I'm like, I hate this bitch.
Yeah.
Why is she doing her like that? I'm
I
like,
was
and then
glad when Carrie killed her.
I was too. I was so happy. I was like, it was like that satisfying. It was just satisfying to see that Carrie killed her mom,
Yeah.
because I was like, you're a bad mom. You suck. Why'd you do this girl like that? And then you use religion,
Hmm.
in a very twisted, like fucked up way, and you shelter this girl because she has
Hmm.
this special, power, which is telekinesis, and you feel that your daughter is like an agent of the devil. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, even in my little head, I was, I'm like, I don't know like half the things, but I got it. And I was just like, you're
Yeah.
an evil bitch. And
That's how I felt.
I was pleasantly surprised and satisfied that she killed her mom. And the whole prom thing and stuff, oh my gosh, that was like a wackadoodle best scene that Brian De Palma did with the whole the the way how the camera angles were. I mean, they got every shot of Sissy Spacek. And by the way, Sissy Spacek is actually born in East Texas. She is from Quitman.
Oh, well, I know that I didn't realize she was from Texas, but she did a film that I liked growing up called
Hmm.
Raggedy Man that they filmed here in Texas. Look it up. It's not like a horror movie, but it was a movie I grew up watching. Henry Thomas is in it too. He plays her kid from E.T. He's
Oh,
in
okay.
Raggedy Man. It was made in 1981. Eric Roberts, a young Eric Roberts, is in it.
What?
Yeah, so go find Raggedy Man. It's a good movie. I like it, and it was filmed in Martindale, I believe Martindale, Texas, here outside of San Marcos, here in this area where I live. So
Oh,
that makes sense that she's from Texas. I like Sissy Spacek.
yeah, but she's like Quitman is like actually like I think it's like an hour and a half from where I'm at. So yeah, she's basically like born here in East Texas in Quitman. It was very small town. I think it grew a little bit, but she's from Quitman, Texas. But the movie I really love Sissy Spacek in, other than Carrie, is Coal Miner's Daughter playing Loretta.
Yes, Loretta Lynn. Yeah.
Sweet, I love that. I
I have
love
to
that
tell you,
movie.
yeah, Coal Miners. She won, I think, the Academy Award for that one. I think she won, yeah, Coal Miner's Daughter. Um,
Mm,
but the reason I also love Carrie so much is because I always felt, well, I knew, like, as a kid, I mean, I had my friends, but I was made fun of a lot, as we all are, for some reason or
mhm.
another. But this sounds really awful and morbid, but I used to love that she took her revenge out at this is why I think I loved horror so much, because there was a revenge factor, and the fact that she was able to take them all out. I know this
Yeah.
sounds morbid, y'all. I'm not crazy. I go to therapy, whatever. I've worked out my issues. But at that time, watching that as a kid that was made fun of and sort of called names and everything, I identified, and I used to wish that I had telekinesis, Keisha. I used to wish so I could like blow people up. Like, and that and Firestarter. I used to wish I could be like Drew Barrymore and just blow the hell out of people up. I know it's crazy. It was a lot of anger that I had in me, but I
No.
I related. I loved it. I absolutely loved Carrie and how she took them all out at the end. I was like, good for you.
Right. Like I get it. I understand and no, you're not crazy because I've been bullied and stuff like that. And I wished I had like telekinesis also because that whole like scene of like the prom, I was like very satisfying. And I was like, yeah, that's what you hoes get for like fucking with Carrie White. Like the
Yep.
whole, the locker scene.
Oh
And
God, that was so
oh my,
sad.
I was just like, why are
The
you doing this girl like that? Because I was like, kids are so mean, but like teenage girls are just fucking vicious.
mhm.
And I was just and it just like I was just like so like heartbroken because
I've
she
said
didn't
this
know what it was.
right,
And it was
and
her
her
mom's job
mom.
to tell her that. Like it was her fucking mom's job to tell her what a period is and biology and administration and stuff like that. And then you let her go on for like that long of not knowing about her body and stuff. I was like, you're a badass mom. But then you amped it up with the whole teenage girls like throwing tampons and big old horse mattress maxi pads to my plug it up, plug it up. I was just like, I just want to give her a hug.
I know, and it's so relatable, not for me per se, but like I know I always say this, I've said this. I think that if women really united and supported each other, they would take over the world. But I think women and girls can be, and I think guys, it's different. I don't know. They compete with each other, but it's not in the same way. I always said like women are vicious to each other, vicious. So when you see, and I'm not saying that in a chauvinistic, any sort of way like that. I'm just saying y'all can be like, I don't see, like with guys, I feel like they get in a fist fight or they get into a fight and then move on, right? They're kind of done with it.
Right.
But like
Yeah.
with women, it's a lot of under sort of lying stuff. It's like nice to your face, and then they'll turn around and stab you in the back, and it's very manipulative and mean. And so when I saw that scene, you could see that actually really happening. Like you could see them treating her that way, you know? Um, so yeah, I don't know what it is. That was just
I,
a crazy, yeah.
I'm a woman too, but shit, I don't understand that shit myself. But I'm just like, I
That's why
mean,
I don't like making women mad. I'll just tell you that.
I'm screaming. I don't
I
like
don't
making
like
women
making them
mad.
mad because they are like a different level of, I can't match that. I can't, I can't match that. I'm not going to win. Like as a gay man, I'm still not going to win. Like I
I'm
don't,
screaming.
yeah, I'm just like, I'll just be fine. You can be mad. I'm going to go away. Like I just, it's a different kind of thing. I don't know. That's just my
I,
opinion.
I'm more like I can get mad, but it's more of like, I like assess the situation, and I'm just like, if I see that you was trying and you just made a mistake, I'm like, okay, totally get it. But if you just do just some deliberate ass bullshit to me,
Right.
just for the hell of it, just to be spiteful, then I'm just like, yo, uh just wait and see. It's like the how they say it, fuck around and find out. And it's like one of those things with me, and that's like rare of me to like come out like with that and everything. But I'm part of that gang right there.
Well, it's
But
good though. I mean, I will, like I said, I think I always am supportive of women in general, no matter what. But I do think if more of them supported each other, it'd take over the world. Seriously, for real.
I
Like I think they already run a lot of the world, but I'm just saying, I think if they united, it would be a whole different world that we're in.
exactly. I mean, even if it's like a woman that like, because I'm in the beauty business, and
Hmm.
you have to put your personal stuff aside with business.
Hmm.
And it's like some I just don't see eye to eye, but I'm not gonna be nice nasty with them or nothing like that. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna be very respectful, and I'm not gonna like shade her business or what she does or anything else
Right.
like that, because that's just being a shitty person.
Right.
So I may not like support her business or whatever like that, but I'm not going to be an ugly person towards her when I
Right.
see her in the street or like or we're at a public event,
Yeah.
because, I'm like, that's just being, you're support, it's like you supporting women, but you put your differences aside.
Right.
Now, if she's going to be acting like a toad ass, just a big
Yeah.
old butthole, then you're just like, lady, come on. We're grown women. Be real.
And
You can,
I always go ahead.
I was just saying, you can be cordial and just keep it neutral, but I
Yeah.
just don't understand, like, you know, how, I don't know. I feel it's like it's a maturity thing. And some of them, like, are stuck in high school with the mean girl, spirit with them and stuff. And they carry that on into their adult lives, which I'm like, you leave that shit in high school,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
And so yeah,
So.
I always just say I think men and women are different, and there are things that men are that they have their strengths in, and women have their strengths in. And I've always said, especially with women, that I feel like women have to multitask a lot more than men, and they have to take care of the kids, have the career. Like the husband or like father or whatever usually gets to just focus on their work because the kids always tend to, the mom ends up having to take a lot of that. I've always felt that way, the responsibility of doing everything. And I think it's a lot tougher for women in general, like just trying to keep it all together. I don't think you have you all have to multitask, you don't have a choice. So that's what I've always admired. My mom's a really strong woman, and my aunt Linda is a really strong woman. My dad was strong too, but I just think women have a different kind of strength that men don't have. They just do. It's a different kind of strength. So Yeah.
And we do, and everything. That multitasking shit, I was like, my brain was fried from all that multitasking shit. I was like, let's lay some stuff down and just do the best to our ability. And I had to like be real with myself because, oh Lord have mercy. I was like, and I have ADD too, which makes it way worse. And I'm just like, just do one, two things at
But
a
I'm telling you
time.
though, men would have given up like the first hour of that.
Yeah, what you
That's the
talking about? They
difference.
would have. Oh shit, I can't do this shit. Oh
Oh
my
no, I'm
god.
telling you, as a man too, like no, as soon as it starts getting like that, I'm like, what?
I'm screaming. I'm screaming.
Yeah, I get upset
I
about things that, anybody else probably be fine with. Well, I know women would, but I'm just like having a meltdown. So yeah.
Yeah, for real. I mean, even like with my son, like he starts having a meltdown, and I'm just like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, and I noticed like men are very emotional,
Hmm.
super emotional.
But they act
Mm,
like they're not, especially straight. Uh, you know,
I
I
know.
I always joke because I'm single and I have to, of course I have family that if I was really needed help, but like I always joke with these straight men that have their wives that take care of them and help them when they're sick. I remember few months ago, I had strep and the flu. I had to take my ass to the grocery store to get my prescription on Memorial Day with all these people. And all I could think of was these damn straight men at home with their wives that would be here getting this stuff for them. And I'm doing this all by myself.
I'm fucking deceased. I'm fucking deceased, bro. You know what? Like, I'm gonna tell you this right here. Like, they act like some total babies when they sick. It could be like a
I know.
cold. Help! Oh my god, I'm dying. And when I was married, my ex-husband, when he was my husband at the time, and he acted like that. I'm like, motherfucker, it's just a cold. I'm like, do you just want some tea or whatever? And he was like over dramatic with it. And I just sit there and just looked at him and I was like, you know what? This marriage shit is not cracked up to be. It's like this motherfucker is acting like this over a just a cold, just a you. You know, it's not that serious. I had bronchitis and I'm like, and I had my son, he was a baby at the time, and my daughter, she was 8 years old. And I was just doing this and that. And of course, I rested and everything. But I would be honest, like, if you have like a really good spouse, they make sure that you are being taken care of.
Yeah.
But I didn't have like a good spouse, but I just wanted some punk ass like herbal tea and everything.
Yeah.
And he like looked at my daughter and he just like, can you make your mom some tea? I'm busy. And I was just like, okay, this is another reason why I'm finna divorce you. But but I was just like, but you like, and at first I did feel sorry because he was sick, but then when it was a couple of times he got sick, and I was like, you know what, I don't feel sorry for this cat because you're playing, you're like definitely playing, and
Yeah.
and you're being over dramatic, and it's not, you're just being an idiot with it, and I don't know. It was like I just couldn't understand it. I just
Yeah.
never understood why somebody would be that manipulative. I mean, like we all feel bad when we have a cold,
Yeah.
but I'm doing, hey, here's some soup, here's some juice, stuff like that. But then when it comes down to me, it's like
Yeah.
you got it, or something like that. But yeah, I totally feel you because I'm super single myself, and I'm just like, I gotta get some medicine. I was like, I wish somebody get this for me. Oh
I
my god.
know. It's just it sucks when you're like in that role and you just sometimes you want to be taken care of. That's all there is to it,
You
and
do. You
and when
you
you
really
can't, that's
do.
where I was so resentful that day.
I
I
don't
was
I
so
don't
mad that
blame
day.
you. I don't blame you at all because I get like that sometimes. I just be like glaring at them and stuff, and I'm just like, I hate you all.
Yes.
I got a question for you and
Yeah,
everything. And since like we're talking about horror and they're all different kinds of stuff, because this is the random horror show, we just talk about random shit.
that's
But
why I love your show, because it can go off in all these different directions. I love it.
I know, right? But we always come back to the
Right?
main point,
Come back to horror.
right? So like, you mentioned that you are gay and stuff. So like one of the things that I like noticed in like a lot of horror films is like the whole like LGBTQ queer horror things or like characters in horror movies. Now the
Hmm.
one that I was, aware of is like Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Hmm.
And watching it as a kid, I was like sitting there looking at the main actor. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what, this guy is gay.
Hmm.
And I caught that. I caught that as a kid. I caught it. But how do you like feel about like horror right now that is like not putting, somebody that, that's LGBTQ, as the villain? Because I noticed that that was like the current like trope thing in a lot of horror films.
Where they
So
don't
what do you
where they
where
don't
they
make them the villain.
yeah, where they don't make them the villain, because back then they like made them the villains and stuff. So how do you feel about horror right now of not making, anybody that's an LGBTQ character in a horror film not a villain?
You know, I kind of feel like, just like with anything, I mean, being part of
Hmm.
that community, I feel like you're playing a character. That's just one element of who you are. Like, being gay doesn't change that you can be a great person, a crappy person, a murderer. I mean, you're just
Hmm.
like everybody else. So for me, like, being inclusive, it's not like
Hmm.
making them the villain and that they're a bad person, but like, it doesn't, to me, like, being gay, straight, bi, whatever, doesn't matter when it comes to horror. It's like you're either the killer or you're not, or you're the
Right.
villain or you're not. So
Hmm.
I don't see like an for me, I actually feel like it would be unexpected,
Hmm.
like in a horror movie today, if they made the gay person like they're the ones who are doing everything at the end of the movie, you probably wouldn't expect it, just because there is this thing where it's like, oh, we don't want to make them the villain because of whatever. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think there would be something wrong with it if you made them the villain because they are gay. If you made, oh, well, like if you tied it to their sexuality, that this is why they are like, the way they are. I don't necessarily think it could just be somebody who's crazy. They've
Hmm.
lost their mind over something that has nothing to do with being gay. Now, I know that's such a hard line to walk, because a lot of gay people, truly, like, who
Hmm.
have grown up and struggled with it, there are
Hmm.
things that happen to you in your life that make you see things a different way, and some people may want to take revenge out on people for because of their past. But I think
Hmm.
that if you just made them like anybody else, like, you just something happened in their lives that triggered them, and that was why they became the villain, and that's fine. But I think the thing that a lot of people in the LGBTQ plus community don't like is when you single them out and make them so much, like, so different, that
Hmm.
they're not just fitting in with everybody else. Like, you notice a lot of shows now won't even acknowledge if someone's trans or they're gay. That's part of the character, but like in Euphoria or shows like that are newer,
Hmm.
the younger generation doesn't really make it an issue. It, and they'll show them with their partner or whatever, but they don't make it like the focal point. Like, oh,
Right.
here's the gay character that has to come in and teach everybody, about acceptance,
Yeah.
because that's what it was back in the day when we were growing up. Whenever there was a gay, like an open gay character in a film, they were flamboyant. Had to
Hmm.
make everybody know they were gay. They had to be
Hmm.
over the top, because that is what people, the male executives and people who are making those films, that's how they viewed it. It wasn't coming from somebody that was in the gay world. So for me, I think just make them, if you want to make someone the villain, make them the villain, but don't do it because they're gay, because they're straight, whatever. The
Right.
Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 thing is, I love that movie. And like you, I kind of figured that out young that, oh, he's gay. But I think
Mhm.
what was so, I think, problematic for Mark Patton with that film is that, and you've probably seen it, is that they kind of intentionally wrote it and made it that way because he was gay in real life. So they kind
Mhm.
of made it to where it came out, which in some ways wasn't fair to him, because at that time in 1985, you could not be openly gay and be an actor. You just,
Right.
and so I think some of the things that they did, or some of the scenes like with the coach and the S&M and the gay bar and all of that stuff, it's like they chose an actor that they knew was openly gay, and they put him in a film that that was kind of a nod and a wink, but he didn't realize it. And people might question, like, well, how could he not know he was in a movie that was sort of, kind of bringing that to the surface? Well, because if you're gay and you're trying to hide it from everybody, you're so in the depths of that you're not even sometimes aware. Like, you're just trying to like survive and keep it under wraps, that sometimes what may seem obvious to other people, for you, you're in it, so you're just trying to, like, I'm going to do this role and play it straight. And so that stuff may not have been like something that he was even trying to think of. That's just
Right.
I know I've gone off. I don't know what your opinion is on it, but I know I've kind of gone off on a sidetrack. But I think that I love the film. I think it's a good film. I do think that they used his real life to sort of cast him, and that
Mhm.
way I don't think that was necessarily helpful to his career. So I do empathize with him when he talks about that film, and that while it brought him a lot of good things today, it kind of ruined his career at the time. Like, it prevented him from really moving forward.
Right. Yeah, because I read a couple of articles about the actor, and yeah, it was kind of like, oh, we're gonna write this because we know he's gay, and it is. I feel that was like a violation to his privacy,
Yeah,
and they didn't have to do him like that. And
right.
he really did play the hell out of his character.
He
You got the body,
and
but
I
I
got the
got the
brain.
brain.
I mean, Jesse is such a good. And that film today, I mean, yes, what they did is what they did, but it does kind of, the underlying theme of that movie, which is why it's considered a gay film, a gay horror film, is because it's almost like they liken his struggle with Freddie to kind of his
Mhm.
struggle with coming to terms with his sexuality, how he can't really move forward with Lisa, like he can't get
Mhm.
intimate with her, and that Freddie and him have this weird kind of erotic dance that you didn't really see Freddie have with like Nancy, or it's a different kind of, it was definitely pushing the envelope, and it's like they knew what they were doing with it. And
Mhm.
I feel like the only one who didn't know was Mark, the actor.
Yeah.
I think he was so close to it that it was hard maybe to see. I'm not him, so I don't know, but just, I would think that it would have just, he was just trying to like keep it under wraps and be an actor and do this film. And remember, at the time, Nightmare on Elm Street was, it was huge when it came out. I mean, it was a little film that it's what put New Line Cinema on the map,
Mhm.
because that first film became such a cultural phenomenon that anyone would have wanted to be in the sequel. So when you're a young person just trying to make your way in the world, and you get offered, like Elizabeth Berkley, this role of a lifetime, you're not really, I think, thinking about all the things that are attached to it necessarily, or the repercussions that you're kind of not paying attention to. And I just don't think that he truly saw all of that, and I think they used him in a way, and I think that's what's sad about it. What I do appreciate about the film is that it's a well done film. It's a different,
Mm-hmm.
very different in the Nightmare on Elm Street series. It's a different type of tone, but today I think it's gained its kind of cult standing, and I think that people in the gay world appreciate the film, even though I don't think they went about it making it the right way. I think that
Yeah.
you can appreciate today in 2023 when you look at the underlying message, that struggle and just trying to overcome, that I think that it does have a place in gay cinema.
Yeah. That was it was really scary. Like that the second one was really scary. I mean, the
Mhm.
first one was scary, but like the second one was really scary. And I was just like very impressed by Mark of, his acting. And it's and I heard people don't like it, and I was like, why not? I mean, it's really, I'm like, it's a really good film, but people just, how they are about Nightmare on Elm Street films.
I think
Which
part of it too is that it wasn't, and I don't know how you feel about this, but
Mhm.
up to that point, the survivor was female. It was the scream queen, and he is considered a scream queen today. But I
Yeah,
think what also maybe turned audiences off was that typically the heroine in those films, in the horror films, it was a female. It was the woman that ended up surviving in the end. I think there might have been an people kind of knew, they felt it, that this was kind of one of those movies that if they had any prejudices against gay or whatever, that they felt that. I'm not saying that everybody
mhm,
who doesn't like the film, that's why, but I'm just saying that
mhm,
at the time, maybe there was some stuff with that going on. And then I also just think it was something different. Like, you weren't used to seeing the male be the scream queen or be the one that survives. And as
right.
much as like people say the 80s movies were like not feminist and anti-feminist, people really wanted the woman to survive at the end. She had to be the winner, and I think that turned that notion on its head. And I don't think people were, I think anytime there's a major backlash to something, there's some truth to it that people don't like. And there's also something different about it that they don't like. Maybe they can't put their finger on it, but it's just not what they're used to. So they rebel. People rebel against things that they're not familiar with a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
times.
Oh yeah,
What do
they
you
do.
think? What do you think about it? Like, why they don't like it, or why you think people don't like Nightmare on Elm Street 2 as much as the others?
I believe it's because of, you know, the Jesse, being the final
Yeah, yeah. The
the
final girl.
final the
Yeah.
final girl. It's like, why him?
Mhm.
And I believe it's because of some of the undertones, especially
Mhm.
with the coach and him.
Yeah.
Um, I think like during that time they really wanted to see like, oh, this is a straight male and she's a really hot girl and everything else, but that just didn't happen because he was really coming to terms with his sexuality and everything. He was going through a lot of stuff. And then of course, they're in Nancy's like old house, and then you have all of this, Freddy Krueger shit right there, which amplified like, the whole situation with Jesse. And I feel that like a lot of people just did not just get it,
Mhm.
and they were looking for like, oh, okay, Freddy Krueger is gonna like terrorize this guy and everything, and blah blah blah. We're gonna see the same thing, kind of like we seen with Nancy and Johnny Depp and all them. But when they seen like their 180 with it, they're like, whoa, what the hell is this shit? We
Mhm.
thought we were going to see Freddy Krueger, but we're seeing
Mhm.
this guy who is a little different from us. what is going on, and like you said, people rebelled because it's something different, and it was different, it was unique. I just didn't like the way how they used his
Sexuality, yeah.
sexuality with it, with making the film. I didn't like that. Very cool, but it did bring something to the table of like the whole Nightmare on Elm Street, franchise. And it's a very different film from all the rest of the films.
Yeah.
It really
And,
is. It's different.
and I think the beauty in it today is that Mark Patton is very well loved in the I don't go to a lot of conventions, but on the convention circuit, he's very
Mhm.
well loved by the fans. I think it has found its place with a lot of people in the genre, and so there is a lot of love for the film. It's a very divisive film in the franchise. I think that there are
Mhm.
people that still hate it, and there are people who love it. It's one of those. It's either you love it or you hate it. It's
Right.
one of those. But what I do like to see is, when I look at his social media, that he has so many people that just come to see him and love, especially in the gay community, that while the intention at the time wasn't him to be like this sort of hero for the community, that is what I feel like it has become. Something that wasn't such a positive experience for him at the time
Mhm.
has, in today's times, kind of flipped. It's kind of, the narrative has changed, and people
Mhm.
view it as he actually is a role model in some ways, and did something different, whether intentional or not. That's what I feel is the beauty of that film in 2023, is that it can be looked at through a different lens now.
For real, and that's bars.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, David, I have some random trivia questions for you.
Cool.
Yay, yay,
I told you
yay.
before we started I was nervous about the trivia because I don't want to look like an idiot. But it's fine if
Dang,
I do. This is unedited, so just it's fine.
I want you to have fun with it and like just answer the best that you can.
Yep.
And hey, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Question number one. Which 80s actress who played Colonel Wilma Deering starred in this movie that is part of the Friday the 13th series?
What did she play?
I said,
Colonel.
which 80s actress who starred as Colonel Wilma Deering from Buck Rogers' 25th Century starred in
Oh,
this
I
movie?
know. I know. Because you said Buck Rogers, so it took me. Betsy Palmer.
No.
Darn it! Who
She
was
was she was in Jason Goes to Hell. What is the name of the actress?
from Jason Goes to Hell?
She was in Jason Goes to Hell, and I seen her at Comic Con, and she still is pretty as the day as like
Oh,
a
she
fresh
was in
daisy.
Silver Spoons, right?
Yes,
Aaron
come on,
Gray. Okay,
that is correct. That's correct. Erin
yeah,
Gray. She was in Jason Goes
Goes
to
to Hell.
Hell.
Yep, yep.
You talking about I fell in love with Freddie 13th and everything. You're supposed to already know this.
I know, but I kind of, I'll
Boo.
be honest. Jason Goes to Hell. That wasn't one of my favorites. I kind of like 1 through like 7. I kind of
Uh-huh.
lost. Although I did like Jason X. A lot of people didn't like that one. I did. I liked Jason in Space.
That, that hoe was in space killing.
I know. I loved Jason X. I thought the special effects were good, and I thought that it didn't look low budget. I thought it was a good movie. People hate that movie, and I loved it.
You know, I kind of low key like Jason X because I was just like, what is this fool doing up in the space? I'm like, you finna go and seek out new life? No, you're not. You finna kill new life.
I know. I liked it. I know that it's
It wasn't
ridiculous,
bad.
but yeah, I liked it.
All right.
So see, I've already
Uh,
gotten the first one wrong. Now let's get the second one wrong.
okay, let's get the second one wrong. All right then.
All right.
You know what? I'm relaying these questions because I see that you always have like,
I do like Friday the
they
13th.
said
I just
it like Freddy Krueger, like your Funko Pops, and y'all, even with like Michael Myers, you'd like,
I love
doing little
Michael.
stuff like that. And so that's the reason why I'm relating some of these questions. I was like, what, you should know some of these. All
Okay,
right,
what's the
second
second one?
question is name the 80s sci-fi horror film produced by Roger Corman, and it stars Robert Englund as Ranger. Name the 80s sci-fi horror film produced by Roger Corman and stars Robert Englund as Ranger.
Um, is it something Galaxy, right?
Yes,
Galaxy of Terror?
that is correct
Oh,
right
I
there.
got one.
Woo!
I'm shocked.
Yay! Yeah, that was like a bad movie, but I love it. It's just so bad. I was like, what in the hell is
And I
this
love
right
Robert
here?
Englund that he's done so many other things that people don't know about.
He's still a cutie to me, but I just like I love Robert England. When I didn't even realize that was him that was playing Freddy Krueger, but I watched it. But I really liked him in the show V when he played
Oh yeah,
Willie.
yeah.
Yeah, he like just won my heart as when he played Willie. And then when I found out he was Freddy Krueger, I was like, oh, okay. So I always liked it, him. He's like really good.
And you know what else I think of him with, even though it's not like a movie people would necessarily see him in? Urban Legend. Remember he was the professor?
Yup.
I loved him in that, and that's not like a movie people often remember him for, but I always remembered him in Urban Legend just because I liked that movie and I liked
He
him as
was
the
also
professor.
he was also in Wishmaster.
Yeah, yeah. He's been in a
Yeah,
lot of stuff.
yeah. My mom, she I don't know, she was like really finky about like horror films. Like she always loved Wes Craven because Nightmare on Elm Street. She loved Freddy Krueger. If it was like anything else, like I was trying to like show her Evil Dead too, and she's like, oh hell no. But if it's like but it was Wishmaster. Like she like loved like Wishmaster. She just I don't know. She was just such a big fan of Wes Craven, but
Yeah.
so finicky about her horror movies. I was like, I don't get it, but okay, you know. But yeah, she loved the hell out of some Robert Englund. She even watched the TV show. Remember the TV show?
Yeah.
Yeah, she like Freddy's Nightmare. She loved
Yep.
that show. She
Remember they
did.
even had the Friday the 13th show too? It was a series,
Yes.
the series. Yeah, I used to watch some of those.
I watched some of that and what's the one? The Baywatch Nights
Yes. It's
was like
funny.
Mitch. Yeah, like Mitch like went all like PI and everything else, like investigating the supernatural. Have you ever like noticed like on the night, those 90s shows, especially when it gets like to one of the romantic sexy scenes, they always have that damn saxophone playing.
Yeah. You know what that reminds me of? Like Silk Stockings. Do you remember that show?
Yes!
That's what I think of when you mention that. Silk Stockings is like, I used to watch that on the USA Network because I just loved that show. And it's totally that. Took you back, right? Silk Stockings.
Oh my god, my chest is just wheezing. Oh my god, I'm trying not to have a heart attack. But yes, I just remember they always had that saxophone solo playing, and it's
Yep,
like gonna be like a real sexy, oh, they're gonna get together, romantic scene. Oh
yep.
my gosh, I just couldn't do nothing but laugh. I was like, this is just pure cheese.
That was 90s though. Like 90s was still cheesy in a different way from the 80s.
There, it really were, but I just couldn't do nothing but just hear that saxophone. Just every type of show back then, it had
Yeah.
that saxophone playing. I was like, oh, they finna clap cheeks. You know, he finna, he finna blow a back out. You know. All
Oh.
right. All right, next random question. Popular Tears for Fears song featured as a school bus cutout scene for our doomed hero in this 2001 film directed by Richard Kelly. And this is actually a two-part answer.
Huh. It's a two-part,
It's a two-part answer to this question.
and what was it's a what film? Like, is it a horror movie?
It is a science fiction horror drama movie. I'm gonna read it again. Popular Tears for Fears song featured as a school bus cutscene for our doomed hero in this 2001 film directed by Richard Kelly. I'm gonna throw a little bit, a couple of hints. It had
Yeah.
Jake
I mean,
Gyllenhaal,
oh,
Maggie
Donnie
Gyllenhaal,
Darko. Donnie
right?
Darko. I
And
love
what was
Jake Gyllenhaal, so yes. Donnie Darko was weird.
I know that was like a super weird film, but what was the song, the Tears for Fears song that was in it?
Oh,
Can't remember the bus scene.
I'm trying to think. It wasn't Shout, was it?
Nope. It's the other one.
Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Nope.
Oh, Sowing the Seeds of Love.
No. Okay, the video, they were like in the Tears for Fear video and stuff, they was like in a library and it was like a chimpanzee in it.
Oh, it's the
You hear
something.
the piano.
Oh, Head Over
Dun,
Heels.
that's it. Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun,
Well,
dun,
I
dun,
got
dun.
half of the question right.
Well, you did. So like that's not bad. That's not bad right there. It's like one of my
I love
favorite.
Donnie. I remember Donnie Darko. I don't remember it that clearly. I haven't seen it in years.
Oh man, that Donnie Darko was something else that
I
I
need to rewatch it and kind of see it today because I haven't seen it since when it came out. Like it's been that long. I've always liked Jake and I like that he's done kind of like some weird stuff like that. So,
yeah, I like it because you see a very young Seth Rogen in it,
mhm.
and and then of course like Jake and Maggie's like in it, like brother and sister.
I know, and they really are. That's what's crazy about that.
That was like the coolest like duo ever.
Now they made a sequel, but I never saw it. It looked like it was
I
pretty bad.
It's supposed to be like about Samantha, the baby girl Samantha.
Mhm.
And I like the whole dinner scene where they was like arguing. They had like the political talk because they was like eating pizza and stuff, middle class
Yeah.
white people shit. And and they got like Donnie and like his sister got into it. And then Samantha's like, "What's that fuck ass?"
No.
It was so funny. It was like laughing. I was like, that is just something. I was like, that's just something that happens at like with my kids. They were like, what's a fuck? What's a dumb fuck? I was like,
Yeah, that's
what?
funny.
It was cute. It was cute. That fuck ass, you fuck ass. Oh gosh, but that was a pretty like, and it had Patrick Swayze and
I know.
Drew Barrymore in there.
I know. I like Patrick. I miss
I know.
Patrick Swayze.
I know. I miss him. I miss Patrick Swayze. Man,
Is
he was badass in Roadhouse.
Oh, I know. Roadhouse is streaming now. I think it's on Netflix. I saw it the other day. Like I didn't watch it, but I remember him in that. Do you remember, you know what other film I remember maybe a lot of people don't think of? Red Dawn.
Oh my gosh, man, that like trippy sci-fi, like apocalyptic,
Yes. Yeah, and him and
film right
Jennifer
there.
Grey were in it, and then they were in Dirty Dancing.
Yes, nobody don't put baby in the corner.
And do you know that they didn't really like each other, right? In real life?
I heard
Jennifer
about
Grey,
that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they
I
ended up
don't.
having a good working relationship, but they just, everybody has their own. There's just some people you don't gel with. That was what it was. That's what, she even said. It wasn't that they hated each other. It's just, you
They
know,
just did.
they just didn't
Yeah.
mesh. Yeah. But you would never know that. Like, I think that's what made it Dirty Dancing. So the chemistry, because they probably really, maybe they did have like a sexual tension because they hated each other. I don't know. Maybe.
That usually happens right there.
Yeah.
You can hate somebody and have like some really intense sexual tension between that person because I was
Because
just like,
chemistry in that movie that was like, for people who hated each other, it's like, I don't know. It's
that does
interesting.
happen. It's interesting. It's I don't know, but I actually had that attraction with somebody before and I was like, God, I hate this dude, but damn.
You know who else? You know who else that had that on screen that they didn't really like each other? David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson,
Yes, from X-Files.
and they
Yes,
didn't
because
get along well during the shooting of that, and
no, they didn't.
they had a really intense chemistry as well. So there must be something about not liking somebody that brings out that kind of a feeling. I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, when I read that they never, they just didn't like each other. And you just couldn't tell because I was a big X-Files like fan, and I'm still am a big X-Files fan. But then when you start to rewatch it, you can see like a little bit of the cracks showing, and
Hmm.
you're just like, oh, okay, now I see. You just have it's like in small flashes, and you just have to like
Yeah.
really really pay attention to it because it's like some things that you can see if it's like mostly you can see like the shade from Gillian Anderson towards David Duchovny, and it is funny as shit, and I don't know how it's like hiding in plain sight, but
Yeah.
but both of them are so professional of keeping that chemistry between Fox, like Scully and Mulder, and you're just like, oh wow, they're like the coolest couple and everything else, but they're like fucking blah
Yeah.
blah 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 like that.
Yeah.
But I'm really like impressed by the professionalism with
Me
both of
too.
them.
Because that
I
would be
really am.
hard to dislike somebody and have to work that closely with them every day. Ugh.
This is just make you have to just have diarrhea just looking
I
at
don't know
them.
if
You're
I
like,
could fake it that well. That would be really hard for me. Because my
like
face always says everything. My face says it before I don't even have to say anything. My face just, I can't control my look if I'm annoyed by something. It's just all over my face. I wish I was better at hiding that.
I know I don't have a poker face at all. And somebody say something like really just stupid or incorrect, or I just like, what the F, what are you talking about? It's all over my face. They're like, why are you making that face? I'm like, what do you mean?
I had a
What are you
boss that
talking
told
about?
me, and I love her, but I had a former boss that would tell me after meetings, she'd come in and
Uh-huh.
be like, "Fix your face, fix your face. You can't just sit
Yes!
there with your face. Do you know that you involuntarily roll your eyes?" I'm like, "Well, I sometimes people say stupid things and it just happens. I don't know it's happening. It just happens." And she's like, "Fix your face." So like
Oh,
I've had to learn how to be better about that, like in work situations, because I would just like be rolling my eyes at people while they're talking because they would, not because I think I'm smarter or anything like that, but okay, let's be honest, in past workplaces and that I've dealt with, people can't really come right out and say like if they don't like someone or they're trying to shade them. So they do this passive aggressive thing back and forth. And so sometimes when I'm sitting in the meeting and I'm watching two people sort of like say something rude about each other, but they're doing it in the most professional way to try to throw someone else under the bus, it just annoys me. And I roll my eyes. I'm like, why don't you just say what you really want to say? Because this is really stupid. And you should go to therapy and get it out there, because I don't want to waste another 10 minutes sitting in a meeting that is already longer than it needs to be. Like that's what goes through my mind. And then I roll my eyes and I don't even know I'm doing it. So yeah, I have a boss that would say, my past boss would always say, fix your face, fix your face.
I concur, and yeah, because my face, like, it tells it and says it all. And my even my like current boss, like, what is wrong with your face? You need to fix your face. And I'm just like, what is going on? I'm like, don't worry about my face, what it's doing and everything. It's just telling what it is. I'm just like if I have to fix my face, because sometimes my students will catch me rolling my eyes and making a face because they will say something like really just off the wall, and I just like repeat it to them like a broken record, and they say something just, and I'm like, you did not get it, and then I just make a face, and one of them would catch me to like start laughing, like, what are you laughing at? And they see me, they like see my face, I'm just making this face and I'm rolling my eyes, and I was just
Yeah.
like, I cannot believe she said this, or I cannot believe she, you're not trying to make them like, sound like they're an idiot, but you're just trying you're just trying to be polite, and just, I don't know. My face just says it all.
Yeah.
And
I have
one
a
time
really hard time.
one time one of them did see me roll my eyes, and they see me in the mirror, and I was like, "Uh-oh, I'm sorry." You know what I'm saying? But well, you open your mouth, you put your foot in your mouth and everything. So I can't say nothing like what I want to say, but you see it on my face.
Exactly. I can't help it. It's just, it is what it is. And as I've gotten
It is.
older, I'm just like, I don't care. I'm professional, but sometimes things just happen.
It does. Things just happen. You just don't want to put up. You're just not full of. You just don't want to hear the bullshit. You just
Yeah,
like cut the
exactly.
chase, get to the point. Let's get the shit over with. Let's be
Yeah.
done. That's just how I am too. I mean, that little pity patty ass pit pat crap, and I'm just like, come on now. And I get real antsy, and I'm just like, and you, that's when you start seeing it on my face. I'm like, y'all need to hurry the fuck up, wrap it up, B, wrap it up. I need to go. I got
That's
stuff
how
to
I
do. I'm
feel.
getting
Yeah.
tired. I'm hungry. Like, let's wrap this up. That's how I feel. Like with every meeting in the past, like
Yeah.
jobs I've had, and I would be really rude when I was younger and start snoring, or
Oh
I
my
would do,
God.
something just out of the sky blue, just like, oh, make some kind of noise, and I'm just like, oh my god, I would do some shit like that. Now I'm like, I'm just trying to contain myself, and I
Yeah.
would doodle or whatever, just out of respect, but try to be professional and polite about
Yeah.
it.
It's
Yeah, but
not always
inside my
easy.
head, I know, right? It's like, but inside my head, I'm like, hurry
Exactly.
up. All right. Another question. I don't know. I have different answers in this. This is actually a Texas question. Which burger joint is the best in Texas? In and Out or Whataburger?
Oh, well, I like Waterburger. I just do. It's my favorite.
Okay, okay. So like I'm gonna ask like a sub question with this also. So which one is the best whenever you are like drunk as hell, getting out of club like at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning? Which burger is the best to eat?
I still feel like, does this have to be one of them? I still feel like it's
It
Waterburger
doesn't.
because I've gone there before when I was, long time ago. That
Oh,
doesn't happen much now because I'm old and just it takes a lot longer to recover.
I'm screaming. You're not old. You are just. We are still young and very
Yeah,
mature.
you're right.
We are
Yeah.
young, mature people.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I mean, cause like I call Whataburger the drunk people food,
Hmm.
because I feel that a Whataburger does like satisfy like your cravings at 2 or 3
That's what
o'clock.
I feel like. Yeah. I feel like In and Out is a little, I don't know, it's different. It's good. I like it. It's just, I guess, I mean, to be honest, I guess because I grew up with Whataburger as opposed to In and Out is more, they were a California chain that has had branched out and now there's a bunch in Texas. It also just might be what I'm used to, But I love the Whataburger burgers. They just seem bigger too than the In-N-Out burgers. I don't,
Um, I like In and Out burgers. I actually like both.
mhm.
Um, I feel that like Whataburger like onion rings do be slap. And like when you have that like spicy jalapeno ranch dressing with it, that should be like slapping on. And and like it's really good. It just hits the spot. It don't matter if you high as hell, you drunk as spot, or just like on a Friday night, their Friday night lights is coming up, you know how Texas
Yeah.
football, high school
Hmm.
football is. And guess what? Everybody piles up like at a Whataburger. So you're gonna have like those really great memories of like Whataburger. Now, In and Out, like I like was introduced to that years and years ago. I used to have like a boo thing out there in California. So he introduced me to like animal style because I was like drunk as fuck.
Hmm.
And I loved it. I love the animal style. So when I heard about In and Out coming to Texas, I was like, hooray. So I tried the one in Arlington. Um, no. And I was like, hell no, because I don't know if it's like the grease or something, or they just did not
Different.
get like, yeah, it was so different. It made my stomach hurt. And you know how that is. If you eat something, you make your stomach hurt. You know
Yeah.
how that
You
goes.
don't forget. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't forget. And so like it was like a long time since like I ate an In and Out because of that. And then I did go back out to California, and then at my time my daughter, she was in high school, and I took her, to San Francisco, and she ate an In and Out. She's like, "Oh my god, this is so good." I was like, "I know." And so we came back and we ate an In and Out here. It was the first time eating In and Out here in Texas, and she's like, man, this is so different from the ones in California. She's like, I like the ones in California. I was like, I know. It's just a little different. I don't know. It's the taste or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. It's something about it. But
Yeah. They might do something different there than here. Maybe that's.
yeah, I know. And I mean, it's like a couple of things on the menu that like does taste like the ones in California, but they still get the animal style like all kinds of like wrong.
Mhm.
And I'm like, damn, I have to go out to California just to get an animal style, a really good In and Out animal style burger.
Yeah. I
it,
think
it
sometimes we're somewhere like I do think if something originates in a certain place, that it is going to be better there just because that's the OG. That's where it is, that's where it originated. So,
right.
and I've never
And I
had In-N-Out in California. Like I've only had it in Texas. So I didn't have it before. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to try it out there in California. You will notice the difference. You would definitely notice the difference. You were like, whoa, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I told you so. And they having a Whataburger out there in Las Vegas, so that's going to be a little bit interesting out there.
I'd have to try it. I wonder, I bet it's different. It's got to be different than
I
here.
I know, because we always have that extra slap grease and everything, because we're the South, and
Yeah, it's
we
Texas.
believe in our yeah,
Yeah.
we believe in our butter and lard and all that, and bigger size proportions because everything is big in Texas.
They probably have some healthy version in Vegas and they put like a dollar sign on top of it or something, or for gambling or
I'm screaming. Put a dollar. You're
like
gonna
they
like
put
put.
some kind of gambling in the bun, like it's some kind of dollar sign in it. I don't know. I just picture it being like healthy and kind of bougie, like something like that. Or the fries have like gold salt on them. I don't know. That's what I picture in like Vegas.
Oh my god! Like just 24 karat gold salt.
Yeah. I like
No,
Vegas though. I'm not a gambler, but I like Vegas. I like the vibe and I like, you know, just kind of walking down and going into the different hotels and the shows and stuff. So I do like it. I like Vegas.
I like Vegas too, but I gambled for like 4 days. I was like, I mean, I think like on the third day, I'm like, I'm done. I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
I mean, I lost money and I won money, but that's the best thing about it is that if you win most of your money back in Vegas and come home with money, then that's a good trip. If you lose all your money and you come back looking stupid and broken and everything, then yeah, your Vegas trip sucked.
Yep. Yeah.
It definitely sucked. And it got some good herbal refreshments out there too, though.
It's Vegas.
I know, right? They got some good herbal refreshments, and I was like, okay, then y'all, I'm like, all right, y'all lit like that, y'all lit like that. I get it, I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Awesome. They got some good gummies out there too.
Well,
I
yeah,
didn't know
like
if I was,
go ahead.
I didn't know if I was gonna get in trouble, because I forgot I had a gummy in my pocket, and I was like at the airport, and I was like, do they get you with like having
Is it
gummies?
I'm trying to remember, is it legal in Vegas or like I know they have gummies everywhere with like, it's not all like marijuana. It's like what is it, the THC or whatever?
Yeah, the THC.
But like obviously in Colorado it's legal, but is it legal in Vegas? I mean, pretty much prostitution is legal in Vegas. So
Yeah,
I
like
don't,
yeah, it's legal in Vegas and everything because I had some herbal refreshments like outside of a hotel,
yeah, so I was
like
gonna
on the
say like
side.
I think that's
So
like
it's
legal.
yeah, so it's not like you don't have to like
It's
hide
more
it
like
and
coming on the plane back, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, because like I was like, oh snap, I'm like, will I get in trouble? I was like, oh whatever. I just like put it in my mouth and just chewed it while she was. Make sure you take everything out of your pocket. Take off your shoes and stuff. Doing that little check. When you go through. So I was
Yeah,
like, all
security.
right. But I was just like, like I was like really like lit and relaxed when I got on the plane, just eating that gummy. It was a good, real good, strong gummy though. I went to sleep. Made me feel good. I mean, I just didn't know. I'm like, am I going to get in trouble for like, having a gummy? She probably thought it was just a regular gummy, but I was just like, just make sure, just pop it in your mouth, secret side and
I
everything. I
feel
don't
like
know.
they're probably used to people bringing things back, so they probably don't care. There's probably
Yeah,
too many things people are bringing back across that they're more concerned with just weapons and things like that, I would think.
right. I actually did bring back my gummies and stuff, and they were good gummies. They were really good. So I'm not gonna like sit there and like waste gummies that I paid like $30 on.
What would have been really bad is if you took a whole bunch because you were trying to sneak them all in and just ate all of them.
Oh my
At the same
god.
time, you'd be on the plane a mess.
Oh my god. That would be a hot mess right there. They would like
You'd be
kick me
like,
off the
what's her face
plane.
in Bridesmaids, remember?
Oh my gosh. Kristen Wiig,
Yes.
yes. She was a hot mess on that plane ride though. That was terrible. Super terrible. That's a really good movie. I know people like kind of shitted on that movie and stuff. I'm like, bro, I'm like,
That's
it's
a
pretty
funny
funny.
movie. That is
That
I
movie is
watched it
funny.
a few weeks ago because I saw it on I think it's on Hulu. It just how they always take turns with movies either on Netflix, Hulu,
Oh
Peacock,
yeah.
whatever they all kind of make their way. But I rewatched it because I hadn't seen it for a while, and it's really a funny movie. It really is a funny movie. And Melissa
Especially
McCarthy, that was like her breakout role in that movie.
especially when she threw her leg up to my, do you feel
Oh,
this freaking
and that's
coming?
her real husband. That's her real life
Yes, it
husband.
is. It
Yeah.
is her real husband. She killed me when she threw that leg up like that. I'm like, my cheek, coming off. I was
That
like,
was so
that's
funny.
crazy. That was crazy. All right, we're gonna be on with our next question. If you answered pretty good and everything, we're gonna go with a bonus question a little bit also. So, next question is: does horses have belly buttons?
Horses. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say the opposite of what I'm thinking. I'm gonna say yes. It's no, isn't it? I was gonna say
I don't
no.
know. I don't know. I think they do. Or I think they don't. I don't know. It's like one of those like Schroeder's cat like questions. Like the Schroeder's a cat. If you put a cat in a box, is it alive or is it dead?
That's
Have
funny.
you heard of that?
Yes. But do horses have belly buttons?
I don't know. I think they do. I think every like
I think
mammal has
every
a belly
right? So
button.
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say yes, because I was gonna say no.
Yes. Yes. Like I think yeah, horses do have belly buttons because it's a mammal and yeah, so
Was
everything
that
has
the
a belly.
bonus question or what's the bonus one?
No, the bonus one, okay, I want you to get ready and stuff. This is like you're gonna finish a lyric of a song. So get your like game on your music.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Finish the lyric of this 3-6 Mafia song.
Oh God, I'm not gonna know this.
All right. And you know what? You can improvise through it, you know. All right. You ready?
Yes.
Ever since that I can remember, I've been popping my.
Um. Oh, I'm trying to think of something clever,
Okay.
but
Every I'm gonna repeat it again. Ever since that I can remember, I've been popping my.
I don't know. Ugh.
That's okay. That's okay. You know what? That is a-okay. Collar. Collar is the answer. Ever since I can remember, I've been popping my collar. Hey, popping my collar. Hey,
Seems to
popping my.
me like probably something from the 80s.
I'm screaming. You know what? I had Matt Michelli and he actually finished like a lyric from 3-6 Mafia and I said finish the lyrics of this 3-6 Mafia song and it was Slob on My Knob. And he actually he answered it. He finished the lyric. I was like, that was unexpected. I couldn't do nothing but laugh. I was like, "Are you serious? This dude know this song?" I was
That's
like, "Slop,"
funny.
and then he just like finished the rest of it. I was like, "I ain't." I'm like, "You didn't even need no help."
That's funny. That's really
I,
funny.
I always try to like throw something a little bit like just
I like that
off
you do
key.
these. These are really good because
Thank
I'm
you.
like wrong in like most of them, but I think it's good.
That's not, I mean, like, cause I
I'm
like
gonna
certain
start
like,
doing. I should start doing like. Oh, I don't want to do because then I'll have to like pretend I know the answer when I don't. If I ask questions.
I'm
I really am
screaming.
like the worst at trivia unless it's like some 80s like pop culture stuff. I don't
Uh-huh.
know. I think I got stuck in the 80s.
I asked him some 80s questions,
You
but
did. You
I'm
did.
gonna ask this question to you, like what I asked him. Um, what was the most popular fruit roll-up flavors in the 80s?
Oh, I'm gonna say, was it cherry?
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember eating that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cherry, but there was another they came out with 4 flavors, but one flavor like was like the least popular of the whole fruit roll up gang. Do you know?
Oh, let me think. Like apricot.
Yes, that was it. Apricot was the least favorite one of the fruit. See, you already know.
I was gonna say
Ah!
because I'm not like a. I don't mind apricots, but I didn't like apricot in like that kind of a. Because you know how the texture with fruit roll-ups is. It's a
Yes.
apricot in a fruit roll-up texture was not good, and so that was based on my own experience. Like, yes, apricot. That
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, that was like I know like back then, like we didn't have like the chance of like eating fruit roll-ups because, hey, I don't know, it's just something about like a black household, like, hey, I want some fruit roll. No, you ain't getting no fruit roll-ups. You're like, you're like sad and shit, or like that's too high. And even with Oreos, can we get some Oreos? That's too high. And I'm like, oh shit, it's just Oreos.
They started
But
making like a bunch of, I think my mom would even buy the generic ones. You know how they always make generic brands of all this stuff but it doesn't taste as good.
no, it
It
really
never tastes as
doesn't.
good. Yeah.
But yeah, I had the chance to eat a apricot fruit roll up. That was the nastiest stuff.
Yeah,
I like apricots, like dried apricots,
me
but
too.
the fruit roll up of like the apricot would just did not agree with me. But I didn't like cherry that much because I just like the strawberry ones, but I didn't like the cherry ones because I had cherry ones and I was just like, it's okay, but it's just not my cup of tea. But the strawberry ones, I
Strawberry
think,
was good too. And I'm not a huge, I love strawberries, but I don't like strawberry ice cream. I don't know what it is. I don't like it in that. But I did like the strawberry fruit roll ups. I liked fruit roll ups, but yeah, the apricot one, I must have remembered it because it immediately came to my head when you asked what is the least favorite. It just didn't have this. There's just something weird about an apricot fruit roll up. It shouldn't exist.
yeah, I wasn't big on like the fruit roll up apricot flavored one, but the strawberry, yeah, like anybody didn't want their fruit roll, I'm like, yo, I need, give it to me. Or they like used to sell it in the cafeteria, it was like a quarter or 30
Mhm.
cents and stuff. And you're like, oh wow, you get it like all excited. I don't know, like back in the 80s, like when we eat at the cafeteria, you always had like the snack, like the chips and the fruit roll-ups and the ice
And the
cream and
Capri, remember Capri Suns? Everybody always had that.
yes, I like the fruit cooler, like the
Yeah,
fruit one or the tropical one. Like
yeah.
that was the shit right there. Like the Capri Sun. I still drink Capri Sun. I know. Just
And a
takes me back.
Hawaiian punch. I used to drink that Hawaiian
I
punch
can't
that you could just buy.
I can't do Hawaiian punch. It's just way too sweet.
It is very sweet. I don't drink it now, but I used to when I was
Oh
young.
gosh. I can't drink Hawaiian. I'm like, and I'm like, it's too sweet, it's too sweet, too I tried. I mean, even like if you pour like 7 Up or like Sprite in it, like as like a punch or something for like everybody to consume, it's still I can't do it. It's just
Yeah,
too much. It's
yeah.
way too much. But David, thank you so much for joining me. Oh my gosh, I have had a wonderful time.
Me
This is
too.
like so amazing, and I know and we talked like when I did your show, and I was like, yeah, let's get together and just do it. I'll have you on my show and everything. So tit for tat right there.
Well,
And
I
plus,
very much go ahead.
and I was just saying, like, for us just to be in Texas, and
Mhm.
I feel that like it's really special to like be connected to a lot of people that is doing like content that is in the state of the Lone Star State, and it's a big freaking state, but I like that we do have like social media to be in contact with each other, or we discover each other and things like that. We follow each other's work and
And especially
comment and
in
everything.
the horror genre, I feel like there while it is, mainstream and stuff, I do feel like it's a smaller niche, in terms of maybe people out there creating the kind of content that we put out.
Mhm.
Because it is a niche. It's not the typical, what a lot of people are putting, dissing them, but it's the, oh, I'm pretty, look at me, I'm built, look at me, I'm wearing my bathing suit, look at, you know what I'm saying? It's very cosmetic.
Yeah.
Whereas, and that has its place, and people have talent that do that. Yet everybody has their lane, and I'm not hating on it. It's just I appreciate the horror related genre and people having knowledge in whatever part of that world is for them, and seeing other people doing it. It is definitely more of a niche, and it even is a smaller kind of audience. So to find somebody else like yourself that's doing it, I thank you for saying what you said, but I also appreciate it. I think it's great.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And it is. Horror is a niche, and it really is. And you know, like you said, you have other people that do like content that's like, oh look, work out, do this, and everything else, blah 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 blah. But you have those that want to see something different. They
Right.
want to like be, they, you can see that regularly, like how I put it, since I'm in a beauty business, you see every girl that want to do like a same face beat with the same eyebrows, the lip liner,
Right.
and everything else. And I was
Yeah.
like, that is so cookie cutter. But
Whereas with us, all of us in horror are doing something, while it may be similar, like your channel is different from my channel. Like we do
mm-hmm,
different things in the horror genre. That's why it's so much more to me variety because, like you said, it's
right.
not cookie cutter.
And it isn't cookie cutter. And I mean, you're gonna have those people who don't understand us. I mean, like you said, they think we're the weirdos, but we're not weirdos. We just love a particular, genre of film. It doesn't matter if it's novels, literature, shows, whatever. And it doesn't make you a weirdo. It's just you just love like the horror. You just love horror. And you do have people that gatekeep in horror, which they need to stop doing
Right.
that. But
Hmm.
horror is actually for everybody. And you're not trying to like press up and push horror on people who don't like horror.
Right.
um you know and you're like, all right, okay, cool, you know what I'm saying? But this is the trip right here. They don't even know like some of the movies that they watch, they think it's a drama, is actually
A
a
horror movie.
horror.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was like sitting there like, do y'all know that like really and I'm like, the color purple. And I was like, do you know that's actually a horror like story
Hmm.
for like Seeley and Suge and everything, for like black women in the 30s and stuff, like with
Yep.
domestic violence and stuff. I was like, that's like a horror. That's a horror. It's a black woman's horror.
Yep. Yeah, people don't realize that some of the films they, like you said, it's horrific for other people. It is horror for some people, you know?
Right. And horror can be real life for
Yep,
people, It really can. That's like one of my slow, real life can be horror. It really can.
yep.
It really, really can. But tell my lovely audience like where they can find you
Yeah,
and all that good stuff right there.
yeah. So just search The Marino Show, like, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, just, like, at The Marino Show, and you'll find my show. Also, follow Austin Music TV because I'm a big supporter of, public access and public broadcasting because that's where people get to. There are a lot of other shows on the station that I'm on, whether it's music related or what I do, but people are out there doing a lot of, like yourself, creating content, and they're doing it. They're not getting paid to do it. We're all doing it because we love it, and it's to provide a service to the public. So support your public, your public service stations, your public access stations, and yeah, Awesome Music TV, and then the Marino Show. You'll find it on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I have a TikTok, but I have not mastered that because I don't know. TikTok's a whole different thing, and I'm just not good at it, but whatever.
I actually deleted my TikTok. I still have an account on it, but I deleted it, the whole app. It's different.
It's
Um
good for, there's some people who are really good at it. I'm just not that. I don't feel like and like my content lends itself to that as much. I don't know. It's just not, I don't know, not my
we're
thing.
we're just not cool and popular.
No, we're not. But you know what? I'm all about the underdog. So I like not being popular sometimes. It's fine.
And,
You know,
and
I
it's nothing wrong with it.
no, there isn't. There
No.
isn't.
No, I think like you mentioned like how people are passionate about what when we make our content and we're not paid for, especially with public access, because
Mhm.
um that's like all by donations and things like that from
Right.
people,
Yeah.
sponsors, the viewers and things like that. And we're not getting paid for it. We this is like from the bottom of our hearts. This is our passion. This is like our babies, our creativity of that
Right.
we what we're putting out there. And you have, like I said, there's things that like on social media, like with some people's content that's very cookie cutter.
Hmm.
uh some people who don't have like a really a very genius or creative clue or anything in their body, and they will copy off of people or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you have something that's very original, something that you can just you have your regular job, and then you're like, oh wow, let me go do this and everything, and you write out a little script or you have your
Hmm.
ideas. That's like where I see the passion and like the work that's put in, with y'all that I have connected to, and I was like, damn,
Same.
this is so fucking impressive. i
Same with
am like
you.
I am like, and I'm like, the talent that y'all have, it just like literally just impresses me. And I would love to see more, a lot of us grow and
Me
like
too.
prosper and be very successful. And it's not all about like, oh, I'm like, Instagram famous or whatever like that. It's more of like you just being who you are, your authentic self, and not just only just putting on just great content. It's more to that. It's more than life itself. It
Yes.
really is. It really
And
is. You touch lives and shit
you
like that.
do. And like what you and I do, I think is in some ways is similar and then in some ways is different. But I think the similar thing with you and I is that while we may do horror related stuff, there's a lot of talk in our interviews just with people about real life, like real life, that it's pretty and it's messy and we're not perfect and we're not coming at you like we have all the answers and that we're perfect. I like to come at it as you do. I'm a flawed person and I'm just a regular person doing something I love. And I like to bring up these issues and conversations and be
Hmm.
real because I find, and I think we talked about this in the interview with you, what I find on social media, while there is a lot of positive with it, sometimes I
Hmm.
think it's harmful that the downside to social media, while it gives us all this great platform to give our content or present our content, it also is a place where people only put forward the perfect image, the perfect
Hmm.
parts of their lives. Like here I am on this thousands of dollar vacation that you don't know how they paid for it, or here I am looking beautiful but it's filtered. They're what I like about you and me and other people like us that are creating content is that I feel there's a realness, there's a rawness, and you're not trying to portray yourself as perfect because there is no such thing. So I appreciate that we present a real picture to people so they're not trying to live up to an expectation that isn't real. And you know this being in the beauty business that yes, you can sell beauty, but you're also real about it, like it there's something with people that are just say what they mean what they say, and present life in all of its prettiness and ugliness and just do it without apology. And that's what I appreciate about you. And that's why I'm glad there are people like you and me and others like us out there that maybe we don't have the largest following in the world, but that doesn't mean those people won't find us like us. Those
Right.
like us. Because there's a lot of people like us, I think.
They out there, just like on X Files. They're out there, like
They
aliens.
are.
They're out there.
They
They
are.
are. And oh, and thank you so much. You put like a big old Kool-Aid smile on my face.
But it's true. I say that like in a very because I get tired of seeing look, I'm all about the imperfections in people. Like I'm much more interested in your failures sometimes, not because I don't want you to be successful, but I
Hmm.
think we all have something to share with people about how we overcome things and get better and are successful. But I think it's also important to talk about the hardships that come with anything in life and whatever are successful in, I can guarantee you that there were plenty of things that didn't go your way. And it's important to also share that so that people understand that what they may see on social media, it takes work. Even what you're doing and what I do now, it's not like we just post whatever. I mean, you edit, you have to like put it on, you have to like curate what you're going to talk about. You have to think it out. Like, what are you going to say? Like, it's not just, yes, it's a passion, but it also, there's work to it as well. Work comes with it as well.
It really, really, really do. Especially when I pop on IG for a live.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, at least my hair is combed and I can sit there and talk. And that's me because I'm not. I mean, it's sometimes you see me having makeup on, and sometimes I have little makeup on or whatever like that. But it's all me,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just how I am. I'm gonna be real raw, ragged. You see me, that's me in rare form,
Yep.
and I'm not gonna like apologize or nothing like that. I throw like a little silly joke or whatever like that, but still, um, that's just me just showing like all my flaws, like how beautiful I am, my flaws and everything else. You might see me like looking half-ass sleepy or half dead, but I'm still gonna like throw out a review. I'm still gonna talk about something. I'm still gonna be stuttering or
It's the
whatever, trying to
same.
think of whatever, trying to
I
remember
feel
what
the
I gotta
same way.
say.
There's some days when I'll put on like, I'll make myself look, a jacket and try to look cute or whatever. And then other days I just have a headband on. I'm interviewing people because I don't have the energy that day to try. Just like, this
I
is what I look
know.
like. I had a long day at work. I just took a shower after my workout. I'm putting a headband on. I'm putting my t-shirt on, and this is what it is, because this isn't about me. It's about you. And I may look ratchet, but this is what it's going to be today.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
just how I feel too. I mean, I'm in my chair just chilling. I ain't done nothing to my head. And I'm just out here just chilling in my chair with my ripped up jeans and my little crop top shirt, with my mom boobs and everything else, looking like a domestic goddess, and my hair sitting up on top of my head and talking to you. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm comfortable, I'm chill like that. I don't need to be sitting up there like some little square and I got my little, like I'm dressed professionally and stuff. No, we finna like talk. This
Yep.
ain't like we ain't on 60 seconds. This ain't no prime time. This ain't no ABC after school special type shit and everything. We gonna be talking on the Random Horror Show because I like to make y'all feel at home and y'all are special.
Oh, and you do. And I have felt special during this entire time. So thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Cause shit, that's just how I am. I'm just people and stuff. I'm just like, shoot, y'all on the show, like y'all talk, shoot, y'all take. I'm like, this y'all. I'm presenting y'all. That's it. It ain't about me. It's about you.
Yep. I love it. Yay. This was good.
Thank you. Thank
I'm sorry I
you.
took so much of your time. It's like over 2 hours,
No,
but
that's all right. Shoot. I mean, well, I'm just gonna say it like this. Like, there's a lot of people that speak, and you know what? Like, I'm gonna let you speak because really it's not about like we gotta be on a certain time or whatever like that. It's just more of like y'all being very comfortable and just telling my audience who you are, what you do, and it's like no limit to it because I'm not like gonna sit there like time. You gotta go.
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
like that. Just keep talking. You feel comfortable, and then you come to a point like where like, okay, all right, I'm done. I'll be like,
Yeah.
all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I ain't pressed on y'all time like that. I'm just not like that for real.
No,
Just
well, I
not.
appreciate it. This has been really cool.
No
And let me
problem.
know when you put it up. And if you have it edited, I'm cool, whatever. Just let me know when you put it up and then I'll share it. in my
Okay, yeah,
channel.
yeah.
So.
I'll let you know and everything because I'll probably be editing when I do like my cat sitting and stuff like that. I'm
Oh,
gonna
that's
edit this out
fine.
right
Yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah.
But like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll let you know and I will have you to like send, some of your stuff and everything so I can like put it in the whenever I post it and stuff.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Cool.
no problem.
What are
Well,
you gonna do for the
anyway,
rest of today?
do some of this like school shopping. I don't know if I want to catch a movie or do I want to go to Joann's and buy some like
I've got to go to like the
Halloween stuff.
bookstore and get my aunt a birthday a book that she wants. Other
Oh,
than that,
cool.
not doing much, but like it's so damn hot. Ugh.
It really is. That's the
And I
reason I'm
don't
waiting
mind
for.
the heat. Like I like the heat. I prefer that over the cold, but it's been a different level of hot lately. Like the kind that just makes you feel like shit when you're outside for too long. I
It
don't like it.
really is because that's the reason why I'm have my pretty ass up in this house until it gets really cool down, and then that's like where me and my son we're gonna trek out and stuff because I can't do all this damn heat, and I take Synthroid because my thyroid and everything, and
Oh,
listen to
okay.
things like heat, and you have
Doesn't work
thyroid,
well. Yeah.
because hell no. So that's the reason why I'm in here in the house and I'm just wait till everything kind of goes down and stuff. And we have burn bans, so we can't burn nothing. The grass is like all dry and
That's how it is
dead
in
and
Austin. It's just, it's the same. It's gross.
brown
Everything's
and
dead.
gross. I mean, and you know what? We have like some wasps that's like on the side of the house, and I'm sitting there looking at them one day, and they are hot. And I seen them go to get water, so I'm gonna set some water out for the wasp. I know that's a little interesting right there. Like
No,
people
they.
like, I'm gonna kill some wasps, but I'm like, no, I need to like give them some water because they are thirsty, and I'm like, I'm feeling bad for the bugs.
Yeah, there's nothing to drink anywhere. They're like dying.
Yeah, I know, and like wasps sting you, but I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna make peace and just give them some water because I don't know, I just feel like it's just I know they sting and I know they're insects, but still, I was just like, you know what, they trying to make it just like us.
I don't mind bees. I hate spiders though. They can die. Ugh.
I like spiders though.
They
I do
scare
like
me.
spiders.
I don't mind most bugs except spiders. I don't know. I always think of arachnophobia. I just don't like them. They freak me out. Ugh.
Oh my god. But yeah,
Which,
she
by the
killed the
way,
beetle.
I heard they're remaking arachnophobia.
Why?
I don't know. I'm hoping it's not shitty, but or that they don't try to
Oh.
CGI because arachnophobia, they didn't CGI those spiders. Those were real spiders.
Yeah, that was like the whole point of arachnophobia why I liked it because it was like real ass spiders in
But
there.
I'm afraid that anything they do these days, they can make things look so real that it's fake. So I don't know.
It's a good thing to like use CGI and stuff, but then sometimes when you CGI a lot of things, it just looks so fake as hell. But if you do like a mix of it and it's like a really good mix of it,
That's fine,
with
yeah.
practical effects and that, oh yeah, I like that.
But
But
if I were an actor and they offered me to be in a film like Arachnophobia and I had to be around a bunch of, I would have to say no. I'd be like, there's no way I can do that. I'm sorry. No.
I'll be like, yeah, even if it's like a film about snakes and stuff, I'll be like, yeah,
I
yeah,
can deal with snakes. For some reason snakes don't bother me. It's spiders. They just all their legs and ugh. I can't take it.
yeah. I got bit by a spider not too long ago, so I was just like, okay.
I have a friend that she's really in her and her husband are like nature, like they do bird stuff, like they do like surveys, they go out into the wild, they hold snakes. She loves holding spiders. I'm just like, that's great. Enjoy. I will not be doing that.
Whee!
Yeah, everybody has things that they love and they're into. That will never be me. Nope.
It's
Give me like a air conditioned cabin. I will not go outside with all the bugs and all that crap. Not doing it.
it's like, okay, that's great. Awesome, wonderful.
I have no
Oh,
problem with nature. It's just I always feel like when you're in nature and you hear about people getting mauled by bears or like attacked by sharks, and like that's because you're in their house. What do you expect?
mhm.
I'm not doing that.
I live in the country because I know my son, he went camping the other like last week, and I was like, "What's the whole point of y'all camping?" He went with his step aunt and uncle. I was like, "What's the whole point of y'all camping? We live in the country."
And what do you say?
He's like, "I don't know," and I was just like, "I said we live in the country. Basically, our house is like in the woods and stuff. That's like camping, but we just live in the cabin."
That's true though.
That's all you got to do is just walk out the house and go in the woods.
So are you out in the country like your house?
Oh yeah, like way out in the country and lit like our fam this is like our family land, and we have like cows, chickens, all of that, ducks and stuff like that. So yeah, we live way off in the woods, and it's a little small community outside of Henderson. I know it's like it's great for people that are like retired and they have families and yada yada this and everything. But me as being single, I'm in my 40s, and like I'm like I
Yeah.
need a grocery store. I need this. I need all of that. I'm more of like of like somebody that lives like in a neighborhood like suburbs or some shit like that.
So, like, in
But
the city of Henderson, is it more I mean, like, in the city, is that somewhere you would move? Or do you wanna move to, like, a larger place, or what are you kind of looking at when you do move out? Like
I actually want to like move to like a larger city, but like more of like the outskirts,
yeah.
like something like Georgetown or Round Rock. Like I can do those right there. Like I'm cool with that. It's just long as I can like close to a city, to the airport and all of that stuff, I'm fine. But I'm more of like, let's move in the suburbs, let's be in the neighborhood, as long as I have like the store, there's a park and all that stuff like that. I'm good with, I'm cool
I
with
get
that.
it, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense,
Yeah.
and those are nice areas outside of Round Rock, and my friend lives in Jarrell, which is right outside of Georgetown, so
Mhm.
that's a smaller town outside of a larger city, so she bought a house in Jarrell, one of the smaller ones.
Oh wow. Yeah, and I'm just saying like Austin is like where like Austin start now. And I was like, look, and I went to Georgetown, and my friend she lives out there. I was like, oh wow, Austin and came all the way to Georgetown.
Yeah. A lot of people are moving out of Austin because it's so expensive, and the suburbs are more like people are moving out to the outer cities.
Yeah, yeah, because it's a nice area that she lives in. Like my kids are like very encouraging, and they like we rather see you be very happy, where you are, you're in a place where you can flourish and you can do a lot more things. And I
Yeah.
was like, "You kids," I'm like, I love y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, they understand and everything, but it's just too. I don't know. It just feels like here it just cramps my style, and I still feel like an outsider here.
Well, and like you said, you kind of want to grow and branch out in your industry. And, I mean, I'm sure you're doing really well there, but it would be nice for you to be able to move to a different place and do what you're doing and branch out more and meet, more people in the industry and kind of like continue to evolve in your career. I think that's
Right.
important for all of us because we're all growing all the time. I don't think you ever get to a place where you're not growing, but it definitely helps when you put yourself around people that some people who have like I've done, I feel like that my job that I'm in now, people who have more experience sometimes than you in certain things, and they can like
Mhm.
you grow, from other people. So yeah.
Yeah, you do. And and one of the things that like I know you have experienced it is like an imposter syndrome.
Oh God,
And
yeah. Yep.
oh shit.
It's the worst. It is the worst when your brain will tell you that you're not good at what you're doing and you shouldn't be doing it. Yeah. It's terrible.
Oh yeah, it's real terrible. And I'm trying not to like feel like that sometimes. And then like um people will like comment me, like say you're doing a great job. I'm like, okay, yeah. Try to like humble myself down, but then I was like, why am I doing that? To myself. I should, you know, appreciate
Accept
them
it. Yeah.
and accept it. But I know that it's like something, you know, back in my childhood that somebody said something to me, and I thought I was like, oh, I'm doing great, and they were like just really just like killed me, because they were very critical and negative. And that's the reason why I like sit there and just thought about it. I said, somebody was very negative and critical towards me of whatever I was doing, or something. And that's the reason why I do myself like that. And I was like, fuck, I gotta go. I was like,
You got to
damn it, I gotta go to therapy. And I was like,
and I
damn, I gotta go to
well,
therapy.
a lot of it is just, and I'm still very much learning this nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
like I think I have my own negative things too, and it's hard that I go down that rabbit hole, but I talk to myself and like when I have the negative thought of, oh, I'm not good enough, or that can't be true, like you have to like actually say something positive to yourself that reaffirms
Mm-hmm.
that it is true. I am good at what I do. And it's like you have to counter the negative with positive, and it's hard to do if you're not used to that. Like I wasn't used to doing that. My therapist really
Mm-hmm.
kind of tries to help me think differently, or when I start going down that rabbit hole, think of the other end of it. What are the positives? Like
Mm-hmm.
what if this happens? Like I'm always the fear, what if I don't do this well, or what if I screw up? Or she's like, or what if everything goes really well? What if you are successful in this? And what if, like, stop sabotaging yourself and think of the other way. You just have to like talk to yourself and change your
Right.
mind. Like what your mind is doing, you have to like reverse it and start saying the other thing. So,
Yeah,
but it's easier said than done.
it is. It's easier said than done, and but like my daughter, she told me, she's like, "Mama, you a bad bitch." I was like, "What?" She's like, "Mama, you just the baddest bitch ever." I was like, "What?" I said, "Don't call me that." She's like, "No, Mom, you're like very beautiful, and you're so strong, and you're this and that." I was like, "Okay, all
Yeah, and
right."
you need to believe that when people, especially like your daughter. I mean, isn't that like the most? I mean, of anybody you'd want to hear that from, isn't that such a great thing to hear because you're a role model for her?
Yeah, and she's just. I mean, she is just. Yeah, this is where I get my beauty from. This is like, that's how she looks at. She looks at me as a role model. And I I don't, it's just one of those parenting things, like you just taken back from it. It's not like negative, but you're just like, whoa, really? Because you know, I don't know. I just never seen myself as a role model for like people, or like,
I think it's
or like,
because our definition, what we've been taught in
uh-huh.
American culture, is that being a role model or being like being something to somebody means that means you make a ton of money, you're successful in all these things, and that you're like, I think what people view as role models isn't what I think the definition we have in our head is not what really a role model is. A role model is somebody who they actually show you their flaws, and they give you, like you do your daughter, you give her advice on what not to do. Like, here's where I messed up. here's what I don't want you to do. And so being a role model is showing your successes and also because that's how people, they love the honesty. Like they can look up to you because you could admit, I did really well in this area of my life, not so much. This is why I want you to do better. And that's what a role model is. It's not being perfect and having everything like just all your T's crossed. I think it's the opposite. I think it's being, like you said when we were just talking, being a role
Mhm.
model is being real, you know?
You just being your authentic self, and even like you said, your flaws and your failures too, and you
Yeah.
tell people about your failures. And I always tell my kids, like, if you failed at something does not mean that you're not good at. I say you look at your failure as a lesson and not make the same thing again. I say failures are your learning lessons. They're not there for you to say, "Well, I failed
They don't
and I
define you.
tried," and they don't define you. This is like one of your learning lessons of like of your growth, and they get that.
I mean,
They
even
understand that.
I always look at even the most successful people that you can see in, on television, whatever. Oprah Winfrey, when she started her network, the first year was not, it was a failure. And she said
Mhm.
that. She said, I was so successful for all these years doing my own show that I just assumed that whatever else I did was going to be as successful, and it wasn't. She had to retool it, redo some things, and then it started growing when she kind of learned from the stuff that didn't work. And she had made the assumption that she was just going to be successful because she'd already been successful at the show. And see, that's a perfect example of, you're not going to be successful in everything that you do. Even if you're great at one area, doesn't mean that
Mhm.
you're automatically going to be great in this other place. That doesn't mean anything. And but you learn, like you said, you learn from the failures, and that's what makes people role models, is how they, it's how they recover and how they build themselves up after things don't go well and they keep going. That's what makes a role model. They keep, no matter how many hits they've taken, they're able to get back up and keep moving. That's, to me, that's a role model. So that's
Yeah.
what your kids see you as, and you should see yourself as that too. We all have things, and but I get the imposter syndrome. It is very hard to overcome that when you have that in your
Um,
head.
yeah, it really is. It just is. Oh my gosh.
I
But
hate
thank
it.
I fucking hate this shit too, though. Like I really do, and I just and it makes me cry, and I'm like, I shouldn't feel like this because I'm like, okay, I'm in my 40s, but I should not feel it. I shouldn't feel like this when my 30s and like in my 20s, but why I'm feeling like this,
Oh, I
I
know.
thought I'm like, I thought I was like assured of myself right now because I like this part of like my, of being in my 40s. I like this. But why am I still feeling this imposter syndrome? And I was just like, oh gosh. I was like, this is something I just need to work on, and something that I need to like tell, that do you really believe in yourself? I'm like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, well, why you still have a problem with this? I was like, well, there's some things that you have blocked, or like somebody have said something and it really hurts your feelings,
Right.
and so it you let that person or that little thing that they said to you control how you are feeling. So I was like, okay, that's some things that I need to work on. And then we always like a work in progress and everything. We
Yeah.
always are. But
Yep. Well, I'll
I
let
gotta
you get
let
to the
you.
rest of your day.
Well, thank you so much, David. Appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you.
This wonderful Sunday fun
Yes.
day.
And I'll
All
talk to you
right.
soon. I'll be messaging you on social.
All right then. All right. And everybody, y'all go follow David. of the Marino Show, like on Instagram and YouTube. Follow his little shorts and stuff. They're so cute. He has like really great interviews with a lot of people that is like in the film industry, like indie horror, just different, like just a melange of people. And this is Keisha Lacey signing off with the Random Horror Show. Thank you so much, and y'all have a great one.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, then. You
Okay.
take care. Have
You
a
too.
wonderful rest of the day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.